What's up everybody, welcome back. So in this question what we got to do, we have to state the parent function of f of x equals 0.5 root 2x minus 7, and we have to state what transformations were applied. Well, hopefully by now you can tell what the parent function of this is. So the parent function is y equals root x. Right? So that's the parent function. So we answered part of the question. And now what's happening is we're taking this parent function and we're transforming into that. And we have to state what the transformations are going to be. So we basically have to find our transformation values. What our a value is, what's our k value, what's our d value, what's our c value. Okay, now let's start off just generally stating how a transformed square root of x function is going to look like. So it's going to be a square root of k bracket x minus d plus c. Okay, so let's write out the function that we have. So we have 0.5 root 2x minus 7, and there's nothing else that we are adding. So right away, we can tell what our a value is. It's this 0.5 here. Or if we want to put in fractions, that's just 1 over 2. Notice how there's no c value because we're just adding 0. What about the k value and the d value? Notice how this part is not in the same format as the general transformation form of the square root of x. So what we got to do is we have to actually factor out a 2 from this expression. So we'd be left with x minus 7 over 2, right? If we factor out a 2, would be just 7 over 2. But since this is in decimals, let's keep this in decimals as well. That would be 3.5, right? And we're still adding 0. Or, so you could have wrote this out like this. Another way you can write this function out, if you want to keep it in fractions, is 1/2 2 bracket x minus, took out a 2, 7 divided by 2 is just 7 over 2. You can't reduce that fraction anymore. So both of these formats here are the same. 7 over 2 is the same as 3.5. And now we can tell what's our k value, where our k value is 2, and then our d value is 3.5, or 7 over 2. And notice how the signs switch. So this is a negative 3.5, this is going to be positive 3.5. Negative 7 over 2, this is going to be positive 7 over 2. And now that we have our a, k, d, and c values, we can state what the transformations are going to be. So this a value of 1/2, what does that mean? Well, that means that the function is vertically compressed by a factor of 1/2, right? Because if the a value is between 0 and 1, it's a vertical compression by that factor. If this was a negative, notice how it's a positive. If it was a negative, then we'd also add the transformation reflected in the x-axis. But since it's positive, there's no reflection going on. What about this k value of 2? Well, this k value of 2 is a little tricky because we have to take the reciprocal of it to find the factor. The reciprocal of 2 is just 1 over 2, and that means this function is horizontally compressed by 1 over 2, right? By 1 over k. So you may need to go back, if you don't remember how I'm getting this, go back to the lectures where we talk about transformations. That's critically important. You're definitely going to be tested on it. Okay, now this d value 3.5 or 7 over 2, what does that mean? Well, that means the function has been translated right by 7 over 2 units. Let's keep it all in fractions. Right, so it's been translated to the right by 7 over 2 or 3.5 units because the d value is positive. C value is 0, so we don't have to even state anything for that. Also, one thing I want to mention, if this K value was negative, so if this was like a -2 here, that in addition to being horizontally compressed by 1/2, it would also be reflected in the y-axis. But since it's positive, there's no reflection going on. Overall, in the graph, in this function, there's no reflection going on because the a value and the k values are positive. So, parent function is y equals square root of x, and then we have 3 transformations that are going on in this function. And before we got these, we had to make sure that we factored out that 2 from that 2x minus 7 expression to end up with 2 bracket x minus 3.5 or 2 bracket x minus 7 over 2. Yo, what's up guys? Thanks for checking out my channel. Hopefully you got some value from the video you just watched. If you did get some value, big favor to ask you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Any questions, any recommendations on things you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments section. Also check out the description box below for links to material and content related to the video you just watched. Peace out.